everybody knows the truth. The S55, the S58, unbelievable engines. But the sound, that's one thing BMW still hasn't worked out with the twin turbo engines. This OG M2 though, this sounds like BMW's last proper sounding inline six. Now before we go any further, here's what an S55 and an S58 sound like. Now at the box, they don't sound the best. Single turbo them, or put an equal length exhaust, they sound pretty decent. But this though, this is where BMW nailed the sound. This is a 2018 LCI OG M2. Single twin scroll turbocharger N55 engine. Possibly one of BMW's best sounding inline six turbo engines ever made. Now in my opinion, this is one of the cleanest looking 2 Series BMW made until they brought out the M2 Comp. But the M2 Comp doesn't have anything on sound compared to this thing. Now this thing is running 2 things to make this thing sound like absolute perfection. It's running a 200cell Sports Cat and it's got the factory optioned M Performance back box, which just sounds unreal. No straight pipe, no pop and bang tune, just pure N55 noises which make this car sound unreal. Now stay tuned because in just a second we're going to hear this thing and we're going to hear this thing properly, and trust me, it screams. How then does this 7-year-old car sound better than BMW's G Series lineup, their latest M division, 80 to 100,000 pound cars, and this thing 7 years old and it still sounds better. So I think it's time, let's get this engine warmed up and let's hear this thing. Now sitting in here is a lovely place to be, but it's even better when we hear the car. Let's start it up. Cold start. This thing's pretty loud. Listen to this. Now this is a cold start with the valve system closed. Listen how loud that is already. It honestly sounds incredible. I don't even know if you guys can hear me. I've only ever heard a cold start on this thing with the valves open once, and it was in a car park, and I honestly thought I was going to go deaf. This is valves closed, and listen to it. It sounds insane. Well, it's been about 45 seconds, and the car has now calmed down. So let's hear this exhaust a little bit. Valves closed to start off with. I'll do a few revs in Eco Pro, and then I'll do a few in the sport mode. Here we go. Now people say the N55 is a weak engine or it's not got any power. I beg to differ. I think that thing sounds pretty damn good. Anyway, sport mode. Let's get a couple revs with sport mode activated. The throttle response is just so much more crisp. It just feels like it really wants to go. Now this thing is where the magic happens. This is the button that controls the valves on the M Performance exhaust, and this thing is worth every single piece of money. So at the back of the car, if we double click this thing, you'll hear the valve make a noise and the tone of this exhaust system will completely change. Here we go. I'll double click it. Did you hear that? It's quite mild. You can't really hear the tone change too much, but you can hear the valve click. I'll close it now. Straight away closed. It's honestly so addicting. Just opens like that, it's amazing. Well, if you've been following the channel for a long time, you'll know I had an N55 in my M235i. Here's a clip of it on screen now, and this thing sounded unreal. But to be honest, I think this M2 might sound better. So now I'm going to get you guys to hear these things back to back. You've just heard my M235i. Now let's hear this M2 with the valves open, and you guys can let me know in the comments what sounds better. Valves open, let's hear it. That is insane. No modern M car sounds like that. Period. Now in a few minutes we're going to take this thing for a drive and see what this thing actually has to offer. But for now, let's talk about why this car sounds so good and why I think it sounds better than £100,000 M cars that BMW is still releasing to this day. Because we are in 2025 now, and I personally think that 2018, when this thing came out, sounds way better than 2025 model BMWs. Now why this thing sounds so good? Very small engineering changes, but they give a big advantage to making sure that the N55 sounds as good as it does. If we're going to talk about the N55, we may as well see this beautiful engine. Down there is the single twin scroll turbo. Now one reason the car sounds as good as it does is it's a single turbo. Unlike the S55 and the S58 that have twin turbos, that splits the exhaust flow. With the N55, it's just one clear path. That's one thing that helps massively with keeping the tone of this thing sounding so clean and so crisp. The N55 has smaller combustion pulses. The S55, for example, has a closed deck block and higher compression. That completely changes the tone of the car, making a more metallic sound. But with a good sounding engine, you've got to combine that with a good sounding exhaust system, and the M performance back box system is one of the best exhaust systems I have ever heard personally, and I really wish I would have put it on more of my cars in the past. Now, if any of you have been in a G80 series BMW, you'll notice that some of that sound is actually artificial and it comes through the speakers. With this thing though, the full stainless steel exhaust system creates that perfect tone. Combine that with the N55 itself, and you've got a dream sounding car. Now, one thing that can clog the N55 up with sound is the catalytic converter. It's down here on the turbo side. I've personally removed one in the past, and it is a very, very big and restrictive unit. With this thing having a 200 cell sports cat down there, it's still legal, it still passes emissions, and it just lets that engine breathe so much more. One thing that sucks is the EU rules on exhaust systems. After 2016, BMW had to revise their exhaust systems, meeting more rules and more requirements. This obviously made modern exhaust systems a lot quieter and way more restrictive. This M2 though, it slips in just before those rules were actually introduced and ruined everything. Now, we've heard this thing revving up in neutral, but the tone of the exhaust system changes completely when this engine is under some load. So I think the next best thing to do is actually hop in this thing, drive it, and see what it has to offer. Let's start this thing up again. Unreal tone. So I'm lucky enough to actually have my hands on this OG M2 today, but I have got to be careful with driving it because it's not mine. I'll still have some fun, but I'm not going to drive it as harsh as my M240i or the Polo GTI. And a bit of cool news for this car is we're going to be tuning it with MHD in the next week. So if you want to see that, if you want to see what performance gains we get on this OG M2 with the N55, then hit subscribe so you don't miss the tuning video coming soon. Just listen to these DCT gear shifts. This car is so exotic. Now, coming from a manual M235i owner with the N55, combining this engine now with an automatic gearbox, which isn't a ZF, it's a DCT, it's honestly unreal. The upshifts are incredible, and this gearbox is stock. Just listen. It's so much fun. And of course, we are driving this car with the valves open on the back box. It would be a bit silly to not do an actual video and drive it with the valves closed. And this is why people are now calling the OG M2 a modern classic, because BMW aren't making M cars that sound like this anymore. And truly, it's actually a bit saddening to actually think about that. Now, of course, this car's nowhere near perfect. It's a little bit bouncy, the back end is a little bit loose. It could definitely do with some revisement in all areas. And it's definitely not a comp where they improved on all these things. But for an OG M2, the sound is really what I think people are after with this car. And this sound just won't be matched again. I think one of the reasons this car is loved so much, it's what people imagine when they think of an M car. It's not too digital, it's not too techy, it's got a good sound, a good driving feel, a mechanical feel, and I think that's what people are after. That's why so many people resonate with this style of M2, is because unlike the new one where it's really heavy, this feels light, nimble. It's just an all-round really good car. Now, don't quote me on this, I'll put a clip on screen, but I'm pretty sure Jeremy Clarkson himself said this car is either the best car he's ever driven or the best car ever made.
This is the best M car BMW has ever made.
And of course, we all know, this car isn't the fastest M car ever made. There's G80s out there and S55s, for example, that are making stupid numbers. This thing comes with 370 horsepower from the factory, which might seem a little bit underwhelming. However, maybe a stage 1 on this, 400 horsepower, I don't think you could ask for anything more. A really good handling car, the best sounding M car ever made, and just an all-round perfect drive. When this car drives past people actually turn their necks, and they probably would do for a G80 as well. But remember, this car is what people actually will remember. A G80, I'm a big fan, and I'm not doubting them. They are super capable cars, but I truly think this is where BMW nailed it. So it's raining, typical UK weather, but I don't really fancy driving this thing in the rain, so let's get it back in the garage. But of course, we'll get a few sound clips on the way, because why not? We're driving it, let's at least hear it. Oh my days. The most exotic car I've ever driven. And the shut-off. Coming from driving an M Light to an actual M car for the day, it's an unreal change. And this thing likes to get the back end out every now and again. You put your foot down in this, and this thing just wants to spin. Plus the sound. You've got a car that wants to send you sideways, that is sounding like the best thing on earth while it does it. Mark my words, one day on this channel, we'll have an M car. Whether it be a G80, whether it be an F-Series, who knows? I will have an M car, and you can mark my words for that. Now, we won't go too fast, but we'll rev this car out so you guys can hear this thing in the high RPMs. Let's get a little downshift here. That's 4K. 5. 6. That's still another 1,000 RPM to go. This is mental. So yeah, I think the OG M2 is better than every single new M car made, and I'll happily say that on camera because I truthfully think it is the truth. And of course the videos aren't going to stop there. If you want to see even more videos on this, like how it actually drives in person, actually doing some fun stuff with the car, driving it properly, this was just a sound video. There's so much more this car can offer, and out of the box, I think it's one of the best M cars BMW have ever made. So if you enjoyed this one, hit subscribe. Hit subscribe for the OG M2, and if you liked it, you can like the video so more people see it. Apart from that, I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.